This is part 6 in the voting methods section. The preference table gives the results of a straw vote among 3 candidates, A, B, and C. Okay. Using the plurality with elimination method, which candidate wins the straw vote? Okay. So first we have to figure out what a majority would be. So I need to figure out how many candidates there are. So add across the top 14 plus 12 plus 10 plus 6, and there are 42 votes. 21 would be half, so 22 votes makes a majority. Okay, so first we need to figure out who, because we don't have anybody with 22, so we need to figure out who receives the fewest. So on the first round, C gets 14 first place votes, B receives 12, and A has 10 plus 6 or 16 votes. Therefore, B should be eliminated. Okay, so if I eliminate B, now here, C gets 14 votes, C gets 12 votes, A receives 10, and A receives another 6. So this is 16 to 26. Okay, so 22 for a majority. C has a majority, so C wins. Okay, now for part B of this. In the actual election, the 6 voters in the last column who voted A, C, B in that order changed their votes to C, A, B using the plurality with elimination method, which candidate wins in the actual election. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on here, and it says that the ACB changes to CAB, which is right here. So these 6 get added to right here. So my new is going to be 20 votes in this order, CAB, and then 12 votes in BCA order, and then 10 ABC votes. Okay, now we're going to use this new one to figure out who wins. And it looks like A receives, nobody receives a majority because 22 was required. A receives the fewest first place votes, so I'm going to eliminate A. And if I do that, then C has 20 votes. B wins here, so that's 12, and then B wins again, which gets me 22 votes here, which was a majority. So B wins. All right, now is the monotonous criterion satisfied? Well, that's the one that says if in a preliminary vote, a candidate wins, and then between the preliminary vote and the actual election, the only changes are in the favor of that candidate. See, this vote went in the favor of C, so that change was in that favor, but then C lost. So you can actually lose by doing better. So is it satisfied? No, it's not. Okay, and now our last criterion. So we have this new preference table, and we are supposed to, first of all, who wins if we have the board account method used. So I'm going to label my points here. And so candidate A, 14 votes and receives 4 points for that. B, 14 votes, 3 points. C, 14 votes, 2 points. And D is 14 votes at 1 point. And then we're going to add to that 8 times for each of these. B receives 4 points. D receives 3 points. C receives 2 points. And A receives 1 point. Now 4 votes. Okay. And now D receives 4. A receives 3. C gets 2. And B gets 1. So now add these up. And A gets 76 points. B gets 78 points. C gets 52. And then D gets 54. So B receives the most points, so B wins. Okay. Now, suppose that candidate C drops out of the race. Who wins if the board account method is used? Now, this is the case where somebody who was irrelevant dropped out because candidate C did not win. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my preference table, leaving C out. So I'm now going to have 3 things right. So 14 votes, it's A, B, D. 8 votes, B, D, A. And then 4 is D, A, B. Okay, this is 1 point, 2, and then 3. Let's see who wins now. Okay, so A receives 3 points, B gets 2, D gets 1. And then 8 votes each. B gets 3, D gets 2, and A gets 1. And then 4 votes. D gets 3, A gets 2, and B gets 1. And then add these up, and you get 58, 56, and 42. In this case, A wins. Is the irrelevant alternatives criterion satisfied? Well, this is the one that says if somebody who lost drops out of the race, the winner should still win. And that didn't happen, so no. Now, I do want to stress that the majority of the time, these criterion are satisfied, but not a single method works all of the time. And just in summary, for the majority criterion, plurality always satisfies that. The board account may not. Plurality with elimination and pairwise always meets that one. Head-to-head, the only one that is guaranteed to meet that is the pairwise method. The montanosity is always satisfied by plurality, but not always by the others. And none of these always will satisfy irrelevant alternatives.